What's good, family? I wanted to come by and let y'all know, like, you gotta watch out of how you treat people, no matter whether you know their circumstances or not. Your position is not to judge them, but to try to understand where they come from, but from a distance. And what I mean by that is, here's the best example. My homeboy and I were out hanging out, chilling, and we went by Target, and we were just walking in, and a brother was by the side, and he was just basically asking people for help in any kind of way that they could. So me having the heart that I have, yes, I was a little wary about, okay, is this person going to use this money for anything that could harm them or someone else, or is it going to actually help them? But I had to realize that's not my position nor place to even try to figure that part out. So my homeboy asked me, he was like, man, what's up with these people who ask and panhandle and why, if he can do that for 8 hours, or however long he was out there asking for help, then why can't he go get a job? And I'm going back and forth with him, trying to give him the perspective of like, yeah, we can sit there and ask that question, but yet, in all reality, we a paycheck or two away from being in the same position, if not worse than he is. And I kind of made a point to where we agree to disagree, but we honestly just dropped the conversation after a while. But I had already made up my mind of what I was going to do, which ended up being, me helping the guy out. But my only dilemma was how much was I going to give him in cash as we left the store. So, anyway, we're walking around and I found my little section. Anybody that knows me really knows that I love my sports cards. So, me kind of giving myself a solution to the situation, I was going to purchase 2 packs of sports cards and then take the change or like cash back and get some money from that and then hand them whatever it was. So I end up choosing $20 versus 100 because I'm like, you're supposed to help but not put yourself in a hole. But knowing how the universe works, I wasn't too concerned on either one, whether I gave him the 20 or the 100. I just wanted to make sure that I gave him something. So as we're walking out, I go with my gut. I hand him the cash, and then we're walking back to the car. And he was very appreciative and very grateful. And I told him, just please, be safe out here and keep your family in good position. He was like, yeah, I appreciate that, man, and he very grateful and walked on. So then I'm talking to my partner on the way to back to his car, and I'm telling him, I'm like, hey, bro, you know, I know you don't really agree with the idea of helping everybody that asks for money or what have you, but you got to really keep the perspective and reality of that could be either one of us at any point of our lives, whether that be tomorrow or 10 years down the road. I always keep that in the back of my mind, and I was like, you can help people to an extent the best way that you can. And I was like, even if you don't agree with it, just think about that, bro. Don't We can agree to disagree, but don't never overlook somebody because they're in a position that we don't understand. And also understand, guys, when you give people anything that can help them or just out of generosity, don't never expect anything back from that person or persons, nor from your God or the universe, because it should be in well intention, not out of expectation to get something in return. So tell me why when I'm in the car, something tells me to open up my pack of cards. I got 2 stacks of cards. Now, I had talked to one of my family members a couple weeks prior about my card collection, that I wanted to have Pacific players in my card collection and I was going to be done collecting for this year. Tell me why when I opened those cards up, both decks, I got almost every single player that I thought of when it came to Pacific positions and plus more. Like some legends I would have never thought I would have gotten, just, unless it was like on an auction or maybe like eBay or something like that, right? So I say all that to say I would have never known what could have happened. I may have still gotten those same exact rare cards regardless if I gave that man the money or not. But I really feel like in some kind of way, me doing that particular uh, gesture for that brother, in return, I got something that I had literally been specifically asking for from the universe when it came to my creative and kid side, I guess. I literally got those exact things when in representation of sports cards like that, not even 30 minutes later. So just think about the different ways that your blessings can come in. Uh, I guess, and some people may consider it to be childish or in a childlike manner, but I thought for me, looking at it in a bigger perspective, I literally got those exact wishes that I had put in my mind of these specific players. And who's to know if I would or wouldn't have gotten them. But my whole point is overall, guys, is treat people accordingly, where you don't want nobody looking less down on you because you have quote unquote bummy clothes or dirty clothes or messed up shoes or what have you. To where I've met some of the richest people that you can ever walk across in life, and yet they dress like the people that you talk about. So always be wary about who you're judging. You shouldn't be judging in the first place. I'm number one at that, and I need to work on that myself outside of being patient. But overall, guys, just think about that, guys. Like, you'll never know what could happen when you're being tested in that manner. And some of us just go about our lives and nothing happens. Nothing. Life just happens. But people who have the perspective like I do, to see things the way I do, I just can't not see certain things like that gentleman coming to us and asking us for help, not coming back to me in some kind of way, in some kind of karmic gestures from the universe somehow. So I had to take heed of it, and what my heart felt was right, I did it. Regardless of my financial position was available to do so, I still acted on what my heart told me to do. We have all seen the people who take advantage of people with hearts as big as mine and like yours, where they go sit and panhandle on the side of the road, and then an hour or two later, you catch them walking a mile or two down the road to a real nice luxury vehicle or a minivan of some sort. And it really makes you look at life differently when you have that kind of thing, where those people like that ruin the image of people who are like that brother I met yesterday night. It make you look at them a certain type of way. And it's like you can't be too upset at the world because you have to have up without down. You can't have to have left without right, but it still makes you think like, man, like why would you put that kind of tarnish on people who really need help like this on a regular basis? Veterans, teachers, your old school teacher, your neighbor, you never know who it could be and if you're not next. Because in all honesty, I think about that a lot. Where it's like people really don't understand the mentality I have when it comes to why I go so anal and so hard about my particular financial status when it comes to my financial position, rather, where I'm very protective over my money, but I'm learning how to detach my protection from my actual possession and attachment to money. Because when you come from places of not having money or and just barely surviving, you get attachments to it, and it creates this fear that you should never live under, because fear is the lowest frequency that you can live on, and outside of shame. And with me having a spiritual elevation and journey, and with me evolving, I can't afford with that energy being in my life. So I had to realize what was causing it and had to grow from it. So always stay focused, pay attention to your environment, and always acknowledge other people's problems, but also admire them and compare them to yours. Where it's like there's always going to be somebody that's worse than you, and there's always going to be somebody that's better than you. But that doesn't mean that you need to downgrade yourself just because of either situation. Pray for the rich and admire the poor, because they can teach you different lessons from both perspectives. That's why I always tell you guys, like, it's always about positive vibes only over here. Even when life is happening and you're going through different trial and errors, you still have to push to have that agenda no matter what happens. I'm not going to allow anything to mess with my frequency nor my mentality. So I always keep mind of that and always pay attention because, yes, you are doing and living your life at what it is now, but always be appreciative of where you are, no matter how up or down you are, and understand that everything could be stripped away from you in the blink of an eye. Take lessons from things that you don't understand and don't have fear of it, because it can teach you so many different things to where when you research it and try to get behind why you don't necessarily agree with it or understand it, or why you have this quote unquote fear of something you don't know or unfamiliar with, it'll teach you so many different things just in the process of looking it up. Because in that process of researching and learning about it, it'll show you, oh, I have no reason to be scared of this outside of just being aware of it and moving on. And one last thing, family, I'll go over as well. Just live in your truth. Be who you are. And I don't mean that in a way of people who are toxic out here. The toxic people are people that have great hearts too, that just haven't found them yet. Or they used to be that great person with a big heart that's been ruined by the world and jaded by what other people's opinions are, or just family members or what have you. So love others like you love yourself. And if you don't love yourself, well, you got some work to do. But I also want to tell you guys to appreciate the earth and love it and enjoy it and be a part of it, because the earth is a living organism like ourselves. So learn how to treat it better, because if you don't, it's going to do like our body does when we have an unfamiliar virus and get rid of us. So start understanding what you have around you, appreciate the life that you have around you, and if you don't have life around you in a positive way, create it in your own mind, because you owe it to yourself. And especially if you have kids or generations that look up to you, you owe it to them. So I always think about that. I love y'all. Y'all have a positive vibe. Y'all stay focused. Keep on the grind. And you can do this. You got it. No matter what it is, you got it. I'll holler at y'all on the next one.